Welcome to another episode of Common Sense, and today we're going to be discussing the power of habits. So I'd like to welcome everyone here today. We've got Jude, and we've got our special guest, Silva.
Hey.
She's still a special guest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Jude, tell us about your fit. I'm quite interested.
Huh?
Your fit. Tell us about your
this.
fit.
This. I've forgotten what it's called. It's called Cafe. It's in solidarity with the people of Palestine.
Okay.
And it's become a symbol of resistance. This and the fist together.
Okay.
So I'm wearing this as just to show my solidarity with the people of Palestine.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. So back onto the power of habits. So in terms of the power of habits, guys, what do you think it takes to build a healthy habit? Like what do you need to do to establish a healthy habit? Because it takes time to build a habit. And when we talk about the power of habits, it's about you establishing just things that you do daily, which can make a difference in your everyday life. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like giving the viewers insight onto perhaps what steps you take to build a powerful habit.
Discipline, resilience.
Yeah.
Discipline, resilience. Okay.
Perseverance,
yeah. Okay, what about you, Jude?
For me, something would have happened before I take a rain check and say, okay, it's not going well, then change course. So it'll be upon reflecting on an action that's already occurred. For example, using very simple things like going to catch the train.
Yeah.
So if you plan a journey earlier, you get there, you get on that train as planned, your day will just continue to go smoothly. But if you didn't plan properly and you start rushing to get there and you miss the train, that's the start of a miserable day. You start cursing and all of a sudden you're attracting all the negativity because that's how you started your journey the whole day. But we don't know these things, and we suddenly you're letting the external control you when you should be in control of whatever happens. So I plan a lot. I take time to plan my journey a day or two before, and I still do make mistakes. Times when I haven't planned, I suffer a lot. Mm-hmm. So because sometimes we think, the information is there at our disposal, but until you hit the truth is there's no network and you're panicking.
Yeah.
So I plan my journey so I don't run to catch the bus, so I don't run to catch the train. Not saying I don't do that, but that I don't. So, and my day just starts smoothly because you go into work, you want to be at work by 9, and the moment you miss your means of transport, the frustration sets in. Where that comes from, we need to check it. And it could be, oh my God, they're going to say he's late again. And that frustration just continues. And you start attracting all the negativity for the day. By the end of the day, you're so exhausted. Not because you've carried heavy load, it's just that burden, that mental burden. So habits, doesn't matter, little habits, planning them, and they accumulate to that, achieving that desired goal, I guess. Sorry, long-winding answer.
No.
It's your answer.
It's your answer. Yeah. And I don't think it was long-winded because they do say that if in order for you to create a habit, you need to set a goal. You need to have a cue on how you intend to achieve that goal, and then it's repetition. You then repeat it to a point where it becomes second nature.
I like that. Yes.
So all of these things are very important in order for you to establish a habit. And I think habits are really important because I would take it in terms of, from my personal perspective, I would say just about 2 years ago, I started going to the gym. And before that, I was not going to the gym. And initially, it was purely aesthetics. I'm going to be very serious. I was going to the gym because one day, especially after lockdown and everything, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I've gained a lot of weight.
And Dirty December was around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Honestly, Dirty December was around the corner.
You gotta look good for December, man.
I have to be honest, Dirty December was around the corner too.
How do I know that? We sat too many times together on this sofa.
And I remember I looked at myself and aesthetically, I was like, okay, I'm not happy with this vessel right now.
Yeah, I like that.
So I was like, I'm not happy with this. And I'm like, what am I going to do about it? And I remember, and then I sat down, I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I remember going online, researching, and then I saw this girl who was doing these online exercise classes because they've become really during COVID they became really popular, and I signed up, and I signed up to her. I was paying a monthly fee, and she had an app where she gave me like a personalized workout plan, and I had a meal plans and everything, and I was dedicated. I stuck to it. And it became like second nature.
Oh, wow.
So I was weighing my food. I was doing this. I was following this. And I was going to the gym 4 times a week.
Oh, wow.
And I saw such a difference that I kept doing it. And even till now, I still do it. The only time I don't make it 4 times a week is mainly because of work, but it's fine. But I've still stuck to it because it's become a second nature and it's become a habit. And also, I always tell people, I like the way that it makes me feel, not even because of, I think now it's gone past me wanting to look aesthetically pleasing. It's more to do with health. I'm like, I like it when I go to the gym. I'm active. I feel better. I have more energy during the day.
Mental health, sustains the mental health.
Yeah, it does.
I'm a work in progress on that topic. I tend to go for 6 months, fall off 2 months. It's been a lifetime of me trying to be, consistent, like every week, every month, every year. But I'm a work in progress. But in terms of like habits, I would say what I find is a positive transition in my life over the years is kind of having a moment of mindfulness, even if it's every other day, if not every day. When I don't, I know that I'm not in that space where I'm self-caring.
Yeah.
So that can mean waking up. Naturally, I'd always say my prayer of gratitude, regardless of what day it is. Yeah. But in the mindfulness of just a bit of stillness, doing a full body stretch before starting the day.
Yeah.
I find that to be a really great habit, pausing, giving myself the gift of pausing, no matter what's going on,
very
whatever I've got to do. And actually, it deepens my spirituality with self. And I do expand, from doing that. So that's a really positive habit. And also changing of dietary over years, giving up certain foods like meat from 2014 and having that as, a habit, which has become a habit. I've not had meat from 2014 or just eating a lot more clean. I have my very naughty days on once and real naughty. Yeah. But it's a habit for me to eat in a certain way now. So,
but I guess it's also giving yourself the ability to flexibility and also being able to deviate, because I think the beauty of beauty of having a habit is that I think you also need to be able to understand that you're only human. So sometimes I don't beat myself up if I don't make it to the gym 4 times a week. I'm like, okay, this week has been really busy at work. Been staying at work till about 9 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
At that point, I'm like, by the time I get there, I get there and like my mind is like, go home. And I'm always in autopilot. I honestly just stay on the train and I go home.
That's why you go in the morning at 6, so you have to go to work anyway, and then you go home. That's the only way. I've done it. That's when I'm being serious.
Really? Yeah. You see, I'm trying. I haven't gotten to the early morning habit yet, only because I like sleeping.
Me too.
I haven't been able to work out. I haven't been able to work out the medium where I can wake up a little bit earlier and go to the gym, I'll be honest, because the sleep.
Again, it's like you said, it's about habit as well. So intent matters as well. What is the desired goal? Like for me, I've fallen really back behind running. I used to go running
because you were running. Yeah, I used to see you.
Yeah, until my knees started giving way, because too much pounding on this pavement. I don't like to run in the park because that cyclical movement for me just does my head in, and I don't like the treadmill. Just on one sprint,
really?
I can't do more than half an hour on the treadmill. But if I was doing pavement, I'll set a target and I can do an hour and back in 2 hours. You see, but I've kind of let that go, and it does eat on me a lot. I miss it so much that it drags me, it pains me. And as I'm sat here, even traveling, I was thinking, if I get home today, I'm going to do it. Again, with we losing daylight earlier during this winter period, that's put me off it, because it's dark out there. I don't want to be running around and get hit by a car, let people attack you. I'm a man, but still I have to think about safety. So habit does matter a lot, and this positive habit.
You're the first man I've heard mention that.
Me too. So that's why I smiled and I didn't say anything.
You're the first man.
Is that an excuse? Is that for real?
Like, really?
Yeah, it's true.
That's normally women say. I've never heard. Have you?
No, I mean, I see women running with their buggies. They're serious. They're running newborn babies. They're running with the buggies in the park. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, but for real?
Yeah, for real.
Do you feel unsafe as a runner?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have to just. Statistics show men just run head on into problems and they die. Sometimes I show the macho or the macho side of me, but most times I have to take a rain check because at the end of the day, you're just human.
No.
Avoid this place. Avoid
if it's
that.
Dark,
avoid
I would
and I
suggest
stay
not,
away.
Yeah.
Fair.
So I've got to be conscious. You can't just throw yourself into problems when it could be dangerous for you. So yeah.
But then you do it on the main road. I've seen people do it as opposed to going in a dark park or forest in the night. You just wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you do it on the road, but how many times do I remember to put on my high vis? I don't remember always, and you can get hit. And we have the tendency of wanting to run when we play music.
Music.
And this new headset and all
Can't
that.
hear anything.
Always
Noise
have-
cancellation.
Noise cancellation and all.
Yeah.
So
Always have one
that's
ear out.
that's another reason.
For safety, yeah.
So with habits, you have the negative, you have and it cuts across every facet of your life, finances. For me, one bad habit is whiskey. And
Do you still buy it every week, guys?
No, I don't do it every week again.
No.
Are we having
You
some
used to
today?
buy a bottle of whiskey every week.
Today?
And you'd be like, that's
I don't do it again.
Oh, really?
Because the cheapest whiskey for me then was 47.
Yeah, 40 something.
And I know
Sainsbury
says now, if sometimes you go and you can get that with the nectar price.
Yeah.
Significantly reduced to 20 something. But even at that, it's still money. And there I am complaining about I don't have money. And then I'm having to indulge in that habit.
Yeah.
Because I want to be sophisticated. And truly that's what it is for me. It is that sophistication, whiskey and cigar, because it's the image they portrayed for us when that old gentleman who's got so much money and power invites people into his big office and he sits there and starts serving you the drink before you even ask.
Yeah.
That just captures me and trust me. And I immediately get up straight to the supermarket and I'm getting one. And I have my decanter and I pour it over and I mimic all of that.
I love decanters.
So that's habit.
Yeah.
But that habit is eating into my finances. So one time I started something like, if I had the urge to go drink whiskey, put that money in a can. And trust me, within a couple of weeks, I had more than 300 pounds. I'm like, that's how much you spend on whiskeys. So I have to culture myself that I can't do this. I can't continue on these habits. As much as I like to look sophisticated, except I'm making money from it. So if I put myself out there with whiskeys and tag these companies, if you want me to maybe promote your brand, then you supply me whiskey. That's how it should balance out. Yeah. But that's a habit. That's a very bad habit.
Whilst the liver cries.
And again,
I get it.
The cry for the liver as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes people say cheat with a glass of water. It don't work that way.
It doesn't work. You'd have to get some herbs.
So that habit that might look positive on the outside for me.
It's actually doing damage to your inside. It's actually doing damage
to the inside. Yeah. And also to my finances.
Yeah.
And I have to take a rain check. Yeah. So that's the power of habit for you.
When's the last time you had a whiskey then?
Good question. Let me think. Since I'm thinking.
You must have had whiskey for Christmas.
Oh, no, just last week here, man. I'm not going that far.
He's speaking hard. What year was it? Last week.
It was last week, yeah, man. That's to tell you how bad the habit was. So I walked into the supermarket yesterday twice. No joke. I walked into the supermarket twice yesterday.
Yeah.
And one time, the person I was talking to, so why did you go to Sainsbury again? You've been before. And the reason was that urge. I wanted to buy a bottle. And I looked at it and I walked out. I'm like, yes, you got the power. Go sleep without it. Trust me. It's got that hold in you.
It's also, it does. It comes to be a need as well.
Yeah, it becomes a need. So I have to check that. I'm like, why did I drive into this place on my way home? I had to check that and I went home and I didn't touch it. I was like, but Saturday I'm craving it. I'm like, I must get whiskey later. Well, I'm going to try my best to break that habit and say, no, you can do without your whiskey today. You know? So yeah, the power of habit is quite... And it's every facet of your life. People have a habit of maybe porn and all of that.
Yeah, because they're negative habits as well as positive ones.
Of course.
People have the habit of lying.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Habit of telling the truth.
Yeah.
All of that. They can't stop it, no matter how much trouble they get into. And people have the habit of just causing trouble everywhere or being late to every single place they invite them.
We've all got something we need to work on. And something we can applaud in self as well, I think, in reverse. No?
No. That is a fair point. And also, I always say when we think about habits, and I'm literally reflecting on myself and thinking about what negative habits have I had that I have broken. Because I always sit back and because sometimes I don't think because you don't do a lot of self-reflection. Yeah. And it's only because you brought up the whiskey that I'm actually thinking, what bad habit did I have that I have consciously made an effort to say, okay, I'll say one thing. I have there's a habit that and honestly, it was only, when something becomes, when you're aware of something because somebody keeps complaining about it and then you don't think it's that much of a big deal and then you actually think about it. Because in the past, I've been told I'm very dismissive.
Ooh.
Okay. And it was like the last relationship I was in amplified the fact that actually, Nana, you were extremely dismissive. And then it dawned on me that actually I can be dismissive, especially if I don't think that something is important.
But can I ask you a valid question, I think, also? Regardless of what has been, it's always going to be someone that tells us something that they don't like, even if a pattern of people has said it. The question is, does it work for you or against you? That's really important to ask, because sometimes, let's say 5 people told you the same thing.
Yeah.
It actually might work for you for a reason. So does it work for you or against you being dismissive?
But I feel like for me, right, from my personal perspective, it doesn't impact me.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking what you're saying to me right now, in the grand scheme of things, is not, doesn't make sense, or it's not impacting me. So
right now,
then you go being dismissive again.
Do you hear my question? Does it work?
Yeah. For me, in that moment, because I
like that.
The way that I think about this, the way my brain works. Is this something I can change? If I cannot change it, and if I can't do anything about it, why am I dwelling on it?
It's still the question still asked, does it work for you or against you?
Does it work for you or not?
Do you see why I'm asking the question?
I think it works for me.
Then
but
it's all about you.
Ta-ta to them.
On the flip side, I'm like, when everybody close to me is like, you need to work on this, whereby sometimes you're so dismissive that it makes me feel like X. And bear in mind that this is not the first time I've heard it.
But again, is it not the same to say if everyone has a problem with you, then they're the problem?
Do you know what, Jude? This is a good one, because I honestly think it depends. All right, let's say 3 people's told me something.
Yeah.
And there is multiple people tell me one thing, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
That can be, you're very methodical, you're very rigid with your morals.
Yes. I was going to come to
Listen
that.
to the words. You're very boundaried, aren't you?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, what I say to people, a boundary for you is discipline for me, and it works for me.
So it's about language.
It's because you cannot break me down.
Yeah.
That's why you don't like. So you got to look at, even if the world told me something, does it work for me or against me?
Yeah.
If it's not working for me, then I need to look at that actually and work on change, or actually say, I actually can't change this part because it's a part of my makeup.
Yeah.
But many people's going to tell us things. It's whether it works for me.
I didn't ever think about it.
I think that is valid.
Don't ever alter yourself if it works for you.
I think that's valid.
It's auntie, uncle, brother, him. Don't change it if it works for you.
No, I think that is very valid.
I haven't actually thought about it from that perspective. I actually haven't.
And it's not selfish if it works for you.
Yeah.
Of an example.
So perhaps that's how I need to think of it.
Yeah. So
does it work for me?
No, it's also the language as well. So what is dismissive for them? You might interpret as a different, like you said, boundary and discipline for you.
Yeah.
I think for me, some people will think, I don't like small talks, man. I can't manage it.
Yeah, I can't.
That's why I will go on the phone and say somebody, can you just call me? I just can't do small talk. It has to be, like Fabulous said, I'm a heavy topic, so you shouldn't discuss me lightly. I like that a lot. We shouldn't be, we shouldn't be talking about light talk. It pisses me off so much. And I know, and I also tell people, I'm very aware of myself.
Yeah.
And so I use the Johari window. What you see and know about me, what you see and know about me, and what you see and know about me that I don't see.
I love
that. That's the power of feedback. Positive feedback. There's negative feedback that reinforces. So if you come to me and say, I'm going to do this. There was a show I was doing. I always had bottles of whiskeys and cigars. And some guy called me in my books, and the guy said, from Nigeria, I don't know this dude from, so I love this show. I wish it was bigger and all. But can you take those bottles off and the books because they're distracting us? He said, because I really want to listen to what you're saying, but those bottles are in my eyes, man, and I'm craving them. So I took that feedback and I said, let's bottle them, or I drink after the show. So it's about all of those positive feedback that you receive. So I know, and I tell people, and I say it on my videos, I definitely am or will be annoying to a lot of people. But if I don't get those feedback, I don't know. But if you tell me, then I'll look at it. Is this person coming from a negative mindset or a positive mindset? Is it because I don't like small talks? Then that's positive for me. Might be negative for you. Good luck with that.
Dude, something you just said about the word annoying, accountability comes to mind, if you don't mind me saying on that point, because I've been saying a lot lately that we use certain words. Like I would say, the other day I said, oh my God, that person annoys me. And I said to my friend, actually, no. I'm annoyed by it. Accountability. He doesn't annoy me. She doesn't annoy me. I'm annoyed by it. So therefore it goes back to I, and why am I triggered by that?
Exactly.
It's got nothing to do with this. You see what I mean? It's the accountability of zoning in, homing into who we are will eliminate a lot of things. Oh, Nana annoyed me. Did she? Why was I triggered by her? It comes back to me and my character.
I have asked this question so many times. When I say to someone, we need to talk, they go into a very panic mode.
Yeah, because they don't know what it's
and
about.
I'm asking, Ask yourself, why does that trigger you all the time?
Do you know
They've
what?
never been able
Could be a
to tell
childhood
me why.
reflective
Yeah.
Because
as well.
because they know, but they're suppressing it.
Yeah.
They're suppressing the why for that. I know that for sure. There are some things I'll hear too that will trigger some things, and maybe I'm not there yet to know why that is. And I know someday it will come out. There's been times when we did our show live and something they said triggered, and I started crying. I'm like, oh, that's what it was,
Yeah.
you know? So there's all of that as well, you know, but we don't know every of these things. We just do them. So you're very right to say, why did that trigger you? It's not the person that's annoying you, it's what they've said or something. It's the language
I'm
they
very
use.
self-reflective, and
Yeah,
that's
we
how
have
I
to.
deal
And
with
that's habit as well.
Yeah.
It's a
You need
habit.
to
Yeah.
cultivate that
Cultivate
self-reflection
that, yeah.
little by little, and it just continues. And for me, in my line of work, when people just bring safeguardings and all of that, I'm the calmest in the room. I don't bounce, I don't shake. And they've always asked, why are you so calm in all of this? I'm like, that's because I've built that as a habit.
As a habit,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
This is a do or die affair and shouldn't be the one you come into. They should go to emergency services.
Yeah.
If it's gone through that and it's come to me, then I need to be calm about it so that I can see clearly instead of being moved by emotions
Yeah.
or moved by the desire to want to save people. The so-called paternalistic behavior. No, I'm not in that business to save anyone. I can. I haven't saved myself yet. I'm drowning. So, hey, in this whole mass pool that I'm drowning in, let me at least calm it a bit and take in what I'm hearing. So that's also habit.
It is.
So how you do that, build that on a daily. Reflection is a very good place to start from. Why did that really upset me? Why I'm always annoyed when I'm with these people? Is it then time for you to change your circle?
Your circle, yeah.
Simple as that.
Sometimes it's us transferring onto other people. I'm very aware because it's done so naturally that we don't take accountability
at
for
all.
that.
There's no accountability.
And I tell people, and it grits people when I start that. And I know whether it's my father, whether it's the closest person to me. And I'm like, no, those are your. I had a dispute with a relative that didn't need to be a dispute. And my brother was building another sneaker boxes that you put. And I said, give me those boxes. And I took it. I said to my niece, here you go. This is yours, not mine. This is your baggage. And I gave it to her. She was confused. Transference. That's what we do to each other. You made me feel. It's impossible for me to make you feel. I felt this by what you did or said. Let's get the words right. So I've built a habit with the accountability and the words that we use and how we unintentionally or intentionally manipulate other people by these words.
Yes.
You know.
I was saying earlier, I've got a big voice. I don't need mic in most places I go to. But why was I aware of that? Because in school, I think mostly secondary school, when I remember back home, a teacher walked in and I just said, I remember this vividly. She walked in with geeky big glasses. I'm so sorry, God, I must have been a bully. I must have been a bully. And she walked in, our new English teacher. And I just said, I thought I was whispering. I said, I don't think I'll like this teacher. In whatever pidgin English I said, in broken English. And she heard. And I was sat at the back. And she walked me out of the class for that duration of a lesson or lecture, whatever we call it then. But later, she allowed me in after that day. She became my best teacher. She taught me so much about reading and all of that. So
then
my voice, imagine. So my voice projects out, and people always had negative connotation to it. But it made me so aware that I stopped talking in places where they would invite me to speak. It happened to me for a long time.
But isn't that because you're meant to be an orator? So God gave you that voice. Do you ever see from that perspective?
Because the negative reinforcement was what I was hearing.
Ah, right.
So I had to break out of that habit.
Me too.
I had to break out of that habit. And I called myself Jude Speaks and the power of language and what you call yourself. And I don't know what that meant until my younger brother who died, the one I was talking about earlier. And he said, your name, Jude Speaks. And they will listen. That's when I started realizing, oh God, I got a voice.
Yeah.
I got a voice that I need to use instead of hide behind that voice. And somebody else again then told me the power behind that name. Your name is Jude Speaks, for Christ's sake. Otherwise, I was so, cool. I was always so I had to take that brain check and build a habit of liking everything that I was hearing about myself and that was coming out of me. And that those negative reinforcement about how my voice is so loud, I should keep it down. As if I'm disturbing the peace of everyone. I needed to stop that habit and start listening to the positive. And that's how I got to where I'm at, that I'm comfortable. And some people will say, oh, it comes natural to you. You just sit in front of the camera. Actually, it doesn't.
Oh.
I still shiver when I start. It's there. I still feel like an imposter.
Yeah.
Every time I still feel I'm not supposed to be here. When I stand and do my poetry, I still say I'm not supposed to be here. But because this is a habit now that I'm cultivating, every time standing in front of the mic and reciting my poems, I'm getting there. I'm overcoming those fears, but they're still there. Still feel sweaty, cleaning all my sweat, but they're there. But it's a habit. I'm beginning to love what I do, build on that, and reinforce the positivity instead of the negativity. And that's the power of habit.
I can relate to that as well.
Yeah. It's quite interesting that you picked up on the fact that sometimes when you have people around you that label you, and even though it's something good, they tell you that it's negative.
Yes.
And it's quite interesting because we were having a discussion earlier about how, but in terms of like in African households, how sometimes they shut you down on things which actually aren't negative things.
Caribbean too, throw that in.
Yeah, and Caribbean too.
Asian too, throw that in.
Yeah, because you know what? It's almost like, because I remember as a child, right? And everybody knows this. I was very talkative.
I don't know.
I was talkative. I was very curious, and also I was.
They could beat that shit out of you.
I wouldn't say I was fiery, but I always stood up for what I believed in. You could not believe. Like, you could not believe it. Like you could not believe me. And I feel like I remember that there was one time my brother and I got into it because we're a year apart, so we were pretty much brought up like we're twins, and we got into it, and it was because what he did was wrong, and that's how I am. If you do something that's wrong, I'm gonna stand on it, and I'm gonna be like, nope, that's it. But everybody always turns around and comes to me and like, oh, you know, you're a woman, you should calm down.
Oh, boy.
Do you know what? It's only African men that tell me to calm down as well.
Calm down, baby, calm down, calm down. But you guys like that music, baby, calm down.
That was my trigger. That was a trigger for me. Yeah.
And I like honestly, for the longest time, I'd be like, but why is everybody coming to me? I haven't done anything wrong. And I was adamant because I knew that I was in the right. I'm like, but no. But they'll be like, sometimes you just have to, you're so, you don't have to hold on to something so much. And I'm thinking, no, it's the principle.
Yeah, it's the principle.
And I've had so many, they'll be like, oh no, you talk too much, stop talking. And I could see how, in a way, that kind of affected me as a child, because then I recoiled. And then it's like, if I want to say something, I'll run it through my head so many times before I say it. And even sometimes I do it at work. And it's something that when there's a group discussion and I'm like, actually what you're saying is incorrect. But I'm like, I don't want to butt in and be like, so I'll keep it in even though I know that what you're saying is incorrect.
You fear whether they will turn you aggressive as opposed to being assertive.
Yeah.
And that comes with not just your voice when you're in the workforce.
Yeah.
It comes with everything.
Yeah, you know what I mean when I
the
say
layers upon layers of discrimination. I know
that. Race and complexion, everything.
And sometimes I'm like, I wonder how I would have been now as an adult if I'd just been left to be this talkative kid who talks a lot, who was curious, who always asked questions, who would always stand up for. If I'd just been left, I was supposed to just be shut down.
This is why you're a talk host now.
Yeah.
Like me.
Yeah.
They can only cover it for a minute.
Like me.
But we came out still.
Yeah.
Those people who were welcomed and they had the positive reinforcement. They can stand. They low key will give me topics to say, can you go discuss it?
Yeah,
come on the show. They're planning. So it is what it is. It's all of that. You build those habits to either accept what they've tagged you or build the habits to reject what they've said about you. And so this is where I go. Self-awareness is key. Where we've heard as well, we would say, okay, great, I didn't do that one right. It's the thing with the same is when a woman, a black African woman or a black man is struggling to believe that they're beautiful as they look. Yeah. It's habits they've cultivated from a long time where people told them that's not how beauty looks. Yeah. And it could be from parents who say you're an ugly child. And that child just grew up thinking this is what ugly looks like. Yeah. It's a habit over time. You've heard that. And it's also for you to unlearn that habit and begin to reinforce it positively that I am beautiful. This is what beauty looks like. That's why it's...
But maybe they're not aesthetically. This is what can I have to say that? Yeah. Okay. Now, again, because we touched this for 1 second back on media, everyone is glorified, beautiful, and curvaceous, and BB, you know what, and all sorts going on, yeah? Of course, beauty is in different shapes, forms, eye of beholder, whichever, however we want to say.
Yeah.
But maybe someone is not aesthetically good looking.
Yeah.
Maybe you learn to accept that and find other parts of you that you can emphasize on. But let's not fake the funk. So not everyone's pretty or beautiful.
No. True.
I ain't gonna say
True. I've said something about a baby that didn't. I've said something about a baby that didn't look good, a newborn baby, and I was smart. I'm like, that baby ugly, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm just saying the truth. And sometimes that could be a habit people don't like because you're
Sometimes
blunt.
just don't say it. Sometimes the habit is like, I'm free flowing thoughts. I have to keep the force in here sometimes.
Yeah.
Not flow it. Yeah.
Not flow it. Yeah.
So sometimes the habit is knowing to see things and say
Oh,
nothing.
no.
And
True.
yeah.
So it's absolutely right. So beauty it encompasses so many things. It's what I say. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, that fish is gonna look stupid all their life. But if you judge that fish by its ability to swim in a pond, lake, a body of water, they're gonna excel. And then they put themselves in check and say, okay, I might not be the best fish out there, but I can swim.
Yeah.
So you judge a monkey by his ability to climb a tree, not his ability to swim. Because he gonna look stupid. But the monkey might not be the best climber.
Yeah.
At least they can climb a tree. So that's
climb a
what I say for us when it comes to beauty. So especially in education and all.
Yeah.
You cultivate the habit of not telling our kids that they can do anything. My kids, they know. I tell you, you cannot become everything you want to become.
No, of course
They
not.
say why? I say, okay, come. Can you become a butterfly right now? You can't. So hey, how we going with this? So I tell them, what you find out what you're good at. You see, I was always good at talking. I was always good at talking, and they almost killed that shit out of me. Sorry for my language, but we found it now. And like I said earlier in one of our discussions, as I age like a fine wine, I love myself more and more with extreme prejudice.
Yes.
I love me now better than the me of 20 years ago. I was on a podcast with a friend. When I said some things, he was almost crying. Said, I didn't know this about you, Jude. I always saw you as confident. Said, I had to wear dark glasses to be able to stand in front of people because I was so frightened. And it was all of this negative habit that I was cultivating from what people said. So I don't tell my children they can become anything. No, it's false. Like you said, you can say you're the most handsome. Nah, man. I'll be like, I don't even, you know what I mean? That's like, come on. No. If you're the most beautiful woman on earth, why do I have a celebrity crush? You see what I'm coming from? So what? Exactly. So what I say is this. Tell the kid, you're very good at mathematics. Yeah. Don't just judge their whole life based on literature. They don't like Shakespeare. They don't want to sound like Shakespeare. Give them a Cyprian Quincy, Chinua Achebe, they might excel. But mathematics is good. Why not build on that strength and let that child cultivate that habit of, I'm good here. I'll put all my energy here. I'll try on the other one. But when you label them that, they grow that habit and I'm not good enough on anything. And that just continues into adulthood. And they don't see themselves as good. And that is a lot to ask them to begin to unlearn. So these are the power of habits. I told quickly, this is it. You can't be anything you want. It's a big false lie. But you can be anything you put your mind to, you want to build.
That you want to build. And
you can succeed in that thing, but you cannot become, like my little boy, he said he wanted to become president of America. I said, never. Not in this life.
Never.
I said it with so much laugh. I'm like, never. You cannot become president of America. Then I said, maybe vice president. I said, no. You absolutely cannot also become the vice president of America. And the little boy is 9. He said, why? I said, for one reason. You weren't born in America. If you were born in America, then you have chance. Like Boris Johnson until he renounced his citizenship. He could campaign to become president of the US at the time. Yeah. But he then gave that up because he wanted instant gratification. He didn't want to pay taxes. So America is by birth. That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger was never able to get to that vice presidential because you could never become president except you were born there until they changed that law. That's why the birth certificate of Obama was an easy.
Yeah.
So it's me telling him. Imagine me telling that small boy saying, "Yeah, you can become anything," and he grew up thinking without habits. I could become the president of America, and he went there to try and they smack him. He'll be like, "My dad told me I could become." No, you can't. The Prime Minister of Great Britain, you have a chance. Because you're a citizen,
Equilibrium, balance, and realism. I think we know that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think we know that.
So with habits, it's the same thing. You got to put yourself rain check. What am I doing? This habit of going out every weekend, this habit of wanting to eat in fine restaurants, and is eating deep into your finances. How do you check all of that? How do you balance it?
I think with that, right, that has to be, I know a lot of people don't like being disciplined, right?
It's what Silva said in the beginning. That's how she started it. Discipline.
Because here's the thing, right? I'm not gonna lie, I love food. Food is my thing. I'm a foodie. And I love nice Michelin star restaurants.
Oh boy.
I like them. I'm not gonna lie. I like them. But it's not sustainable.
Good.
To do it every week. And I got to a point where I tried to do this thing where I'm like, okay, if I was like maybe once every month or once every other month. Well, sometimes what I did, I remember, what year was it? I think it was for my 28th birthday where I was in Portugal. And before I got there, I was like, I picked a Michelin star restaurant to go and try. I'm going away again for my birthday once again. And I'm now planning for a Michelin star restaurant to try whilst I'm out there. But as much as I would love to be able to say, yeah, let me go to a Michelin star restaurant every weekend, I'll go to fine dining, it's just not sustainable. It doesn't make sense. Currently.
Let the universe know
No,
that.
currently. Because like I said, if you look at your finances, if I could afford it, of course, and it wouldn't
you like nice things.
Of course, I like nice things. I would absolutely do it.
And the discipline you talk about is also about delaying the instant gratification.
Delayed gratification. I was just about to say.
For the later day.
Yeah.
That's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
It's okay to want to have takeaway every evening and go to cinemas, but can we not delay this?
Yeah, to a time where it's more suitable.
I love that you said it in that way.
Yeah. And it's almost like, in terms of like delayed gratification, people don't understand this. Because I'm like, there was a point where I know I was working full time and going to uni part time and doing all of this. Because for me, I'm like, this is where I wanted to get to. And people would be like, oh, you're crazy. How are you doing this? And I was like, because it's delayed gratification. And now I can say that I set a goal of where I wanted to be by this age, and I've met it because I understood the power of delayed gratification, of turning down invites in the evening and being like, no, I have to go to the library.
Yes, I can relate to
so
that very well.
And they're like, oh yeah, you can do this, you're doing that, oh, you're always traveling. And I'm thinking, do you know what I had to do to get
here? They don't know. That's why you're going to be jealous of anybody.
It's amazing you just said that, and I can relate. And I was saying in some discussions recently, I have friends who at the time, I never went to uni in Nigeria because I think it was because of finances and all of that stuff. I came here, I started uni in 2013, went to college first and foremost. I had friends at the time who were already talking at the time like, look, if we continue with this hard labor, what we call work, 9 to 5 in England, by the time we get to 40 and 45 and 46, man, I don't think our knees will be able to carry our weight. We need to check this. I can't stand outside supermarkets doing security anymore. I can't carry loads. We need to change.
Yeah.
And a few did go back to uni like I did. But a lot of them didn't. They just thought, nah, man, I got to push this now. And you're right. Looking back since 2013, look at where I'm at. I've got a first class degree. I've got a master's degree. I'm doing another course again. And now I'm in the place where I can stand above people and say, look, this is who I am. Because I delayed all the gratification at the time to say, look, I'm looking at the future. I'm looking at the front. So it's habit. So some of us are disciplined to say, okay, these little habits will lead to my growth.
Yeah.
Let me continue along the path. Oh, you know what? Guys are balling, man. The babes are balling. I'm missing out on that every week.
Yeah.
Because dudes are coming to say, man, I smashed that girl last week. The girls are saying, I hooked up with that dude that week. We were there doing that. We were there doing that. There's a habit. So we miss that because we're humans. All of that debauchery and all of that is still in us, innate.
Let me just drop a little bit of a seed while you were saying. I was just reflecting on both. I can relate to both of your stories and journeys as well. Do you know what I think is quite a positive habit? And I've been told boo-hoo from many people, but it's become quite trending with men now. And that's celibacy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be the number one moral.
But for men that are actually single and even non-single, it's not just celibacy, it's now become a positive habit for even a lot of the Asian boys. They call it esteem and retention. So, and even if they have a partner, they still practice not ejaculating because of the habit they want to.
People don't believe. People don't believe when I tell them I did that.
Yes,
it is discipline. People don't believe when I say.
I don't use celibacy. Yes,
I can be. I've been without sex for more than a year, even during the COVID time. And my friend, the manager, said, "You guys were going over each other like rabbits." I said, "No." She said, "Oh, I couldn't get my hands up." Blah blah. I'm like, "That's you." This is me. It is discipline.
Yeah,
but,
it is discipline.
And it is positive. But people try to make it look negative.
No, but the thing is, if you've got a partner, unless you're both, this is my
I think you both have to be.
Oh no, of course, we
If you
both
got-
agree.
if you have a partner,
It's not to starve them. Yeah.
I think there has to be a level of alignment, even if it means I don't agree, but I accept. You've got to have the understanding, So you can have the sexual intimacy, but the man, for an example, usually if they're doing semen retention, will still have the intercourse exchange, but without the ejaculation.
Yeah.
That's his discipline.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing in the world to do if you're with somebody.
So it is true.
Yeah,
It is
quite
discipline.
spiritual as well.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so this depends on where you're at in your life and what habits you need and in the journey that you're in.
You're in, yeah.
You know, and not every habit's trending for, one size don't fit all.
Of course.
I like the bit about not every habit trending. It's not about the habit trending.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, go catch trending habits. But it's true
But,
though.
all the habits are trending.
No.
Dietary.
Yeah.
I'm a vegan when you're not. I'm a vegan, but you're sitting on leather couch. Get out of here.
Put it there. Look,
Yeah?
look, those people, you know what I call them?
It's vegan dietary,
I
not vegan.
I call them terrorists. I'm like, don't bother me. You're there screaming. You're driving an SUV. If you touch my SUV, I'm gonna knock you out with my baseball bat because that's that t-shirt on your back, man. How do you think that got to your back?
But remember words. If you, I'm not trying to go too strict on the food, but I'm giving an example. It's trend. Some habits are positively trending.
Yeah.
And some are
I agree. I think vegetarian and veganism are
fantastic. But then if say the difference between I'm a vegan dietary,
You're actually sitting on a cow skin
you're
sofa.
vegan and you got leather shoes and everything. Come on, trending, but understand why you're doing it for you and go into the layers. So
I agree.
I think it's the intent about what people go about. Like recently, people go about the habit of recycling.
Yeah.
All fine and good though.
That's a good one.
But I say to them, come on, man. When I start talking about linking it back to Africa and all of that, and they shut up, they're no longer what it's called. They no longer have green credentials anymore.
So you don't like recycling? Are you saying?
Oh no, I do that.
No.
Fantastic.
What they do is but the thing is that I have an issue, especially with the West and this is me just throwing it out there because I think the West sometimes the double standard is ridiculous. They're like, oh yeah, we're green, we're doing this. No, you're just dumping it in a third world country.
Simple
for
as
them
that.
to
It goes back to that. And it's not just that. It's also
and they're like, oh yeah, we're recycling.
it's
No,
also,
but where are those clothes? I just started looking at the clothes bank and all the clothes that you give to a lot of clothes banks and how a lot of them just literally end up. Predominantly, it was actually a specific article in Ghana. Where that's meant to be like for secondhand clothing.
Okay.
So where you think, I'm giving this to this clothes bank, a lot of it just gets dumped in in Ghana, and then now they're sorting, and it's got to a point where it was too much that they were thinking about saying no more.
Really?
Yeah.
And it is this false sense of honesty. It's also a habit, and you're there with your fingers holding this new fad of a cup they use for buying coffee. They say, I'm saying no to plastic, but on your hand is this big diamonds. And I'm telling you the story about that diamond. It's making little girls in Congo die. It's making little girls in Sierra Leone being raped in Liberia. When I start telling that story, they're like, gosh, they want to drop it.
But
the iPhones return.
There's a difference though. You see, when you are blameless, it's a word that people they get annoyed when I use this word. If you are blameless and you are unaware and you've educated someone and they've taken it off, I'm all for it. They didn't realize. You've now taken to the next level.
Of course, I have to. Yeah. Because all of this is habit. A habit of ignorance or habit of having the knowledge. Yeah. So it's not enough for you to be putting all your virtues out there when you don't know that nothing happens in a vacuum. Yeah. Everything is linked. Well, I ask questions a lot. Where do all of these go? Where do all of this go? Where do we go? Yeah. Where do all of this go? The whole world is linked. Recently, we're looking at. I know we're cutting across topic, but it's about that having the habit to study, to find the knowledge. Yeah. I was talking to somebody yesterday, a couple of days ago, and this older woman said, "I bought a lift from a building in Africa, in a country in Africa. I don't want to mention it, and they're telling me that I paid 30K pounds. That lift will not arrive now." I'm like, why? She said, "Do you know about the Red Sea?" I said, "Oh, the Yemeni, the Houthi, the British, and the American." Most people don't know the links of all of this. That's why I look back and sit back and say, why are all of this happening? That is an important strait for moving goods and all of that. It's not just about the oil. So an ordinary woman who I know is now being affected by what's happening there.
by it, yeah.
How many people know this information? So the habit of wanting to have fast information without also sitting back to say, let me reflect and see how my
does this
own
affect
values,
or what-
my so-called false values
yeah.
affect people far
Affect
away.
people, yeah,
My so-called signal virtually, how does it affect people? All of that. All of this is habit. It's habit that we cultivate. We've heard over time that we can be wrong. We can't do anything bad. We're this, we're that. That's a habit. You got to unlearn those habits and say, hang on. Those people out there cannot just be wrong all the time. What are we doing?
It's also generational as well.
Yes.
I think I'm listening to you guys. I'm kind of reflecting on, generational habits and teachings that we still live by because it's culture and because my grandma said and half the time you don't even know the history or the origin of that. You just, again, for example, it's no different to things like Christmas or whatever. Yeah. You're doing it. I mean, all the other days of the year, you're suddenly conscious. You get to Easter, all of you who's watching, you get to Easter, you get to Christmas, and suddenly, this did it for my children. Be real. If you're not into this thing, don't adopt that habit.
Have you been called Scrooge before? Because I'm Ebenezer Scrooge.
No, but the thing is, here's what's interesting.
But
here's what's interesting. My son's very into all that stuff.
Yeah.
I stopped celebrating when over 20 years ago. But by that time I already had him. Yeah. And so he loves all that. He goes to my parents. I don't go to any of it. Yeah. I don't celebrate any of it. I was still giving money. So there's no Scrooge, but I just don't partake in terms of celebrating. But you want it.
And you're right, the way you linked it, habits becomes, what is culture?
Yeah.
It's hybrid. It becomes culture, your habits. And I say to people, if it sets you back, maybe it's time to look back and
That's
reflect.
my point.
Simple, reflect and stop what sets you back. Because there's a habit that's come from generation, don't mean I must continue with that. Never ever.
Yeah.
You keep,
that's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's a massive problem. It's not just the culture, I was wrong with it. It's a habit that we've done. No.
The reason why I think it's a big problem is because when I speak to people, I realize the unhappiness that many of us carry because you don't want to disappoint your mum, your dad, but actually silently you're killing yourself within.
Yeah, habits.
Yeah.
The habit of staying silent to suffer, to satisfy a habit that you feel is unhealthy for you. Come on now.
And I guess it also comes into like this thing of saying that, and I'm never going to stop saying that culture in itself isn't static. Culture is man-made.
Yeah.
Culture
it is.
Oh, that's a good one.
So if at any point culture no longer fits what you want out of life, be brave enough to be like, this needs to be adapted. Because culture isn't static, it changes. And I hate this idea when people try to say, oh no, culture is sacred. No, it's not, it's man-made.
Human-made. Not to put all the blame on man.
And at that point, they made it that way because that's what suited them.
But sacred,
oh no, of course.
You see the feeling or the thoughts of sacred though, when I look at it, I say to myself, it can be sacred to me.
Yeah.
And it can be sacred to you. Yeah. So I guess the individualism is what we can celebrate.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's no wrong or right. It's just different.
No, difference. Yeah.
Especially with times as well. The habits of yesteryears cannot sustain in this present times. Imagine people from 60 years ago, they can't form the habit. They can't understand the habits of this. And I'm saying...
Even because my grandma's in her 80s and her on her phone.
No.
and I'm saying people are going to look back to this generation,
that makes
40 years and 60 years, and like, what sort of habit do these people have?
My dad's never had a mobile phone, by the way.
Really?
He's not into. He doesn't want no kind of nothing. Nothing. My mum's, she's now informed. She does all of this in her 80s.
You can see it. They're really struggling.
Just about knows how to. He's like, he doesn't know anything. Just about the answer button. That's it.
Sometimes that's all you need. Answer button, yes
He's
or
not
no.
Interested.
That's all we need. Bad habit, good habit is yes or no.
Yes or no.
Simple as that.
He's only just started using microwaves too. He's not. He's
a lot of people,
he's
yes.
traditional.
Oh wow.
A lot of people don't use
been
microwaves.
in the house, but he's old school.
Not a lot of people. People don't use microwaves.
And to be fair, it's healthier.
It's only just the latter years, so he's traditional. So it just depends on who you are.
On who you are, That is quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's true though. Good habits, bad habits.
So don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, but also on Spotify, Common Sense. Check it out. And just before we head off, what final words do you have? I'm thinking, what final words do you have in terms of for our viewers? How do you cultivate a good habit? What's the one thing that you see? One word. Give us a one word.
I think I'll just say, look at Tesco's advert. Every little helps.
Oh, that's perfect.
Every little helps.
How do I say anything after that? I don't know if I can give one word, but I would just say, ultimately, I always say individualism, just be you. And with being you, you can look at your peers for inspiration, but look away from them when it comes to trying to follow somebody else's pattern.
Yeah.
Everyone's exam paper is not the same.
Yeah, that's why that dude copied and pasted and he failed.
Yeah, everyone's exam paper is not the same, you know?
They copied the name as well, the exam number, like
Yeah.
student ID, copied everything.
And don't be deterred, sorry,
be
from your
deterred.
habits, because people do that. If they're not like you and it's working for you, do what works for you.
Yeah. No, that.
Yeah, because this is
that
a
is
world
very,
where
very,
everyone
very,
really wants you to change your habit to suit them.
Thank you.
There's agenda. That's what we need to be aware of. Just to add more, agendas are there. I might be with a girl in a relationship, and what people don't understand in a relationship is this: I'm making you conform to me.
Yeah.
Little by little, I'm peeling off your habits.
Yes.
But I also am very self-conscious. You are your own unique being. Yes, there are things that you do that probably don't sit with me right now. We'll discuss it. But at the end of the day, I'm that person. I realize that's you. I didn't bring you up. So you said the Bible said train the child in the way they should go or grow, and when they go, they don't depart from it. Your parents' responsibility to do that. I ain't about to start training you to cultivate new habits. So that's what we do in relationships. I'm trying to make you conform, and the woman is trying to make me conform. But you got to realize and still keep to your unique self. That individualism needs to remember, of course. Habits that are detrimental to the both of us in a relationship, we need to put it on the table and say, nah, this needs to stop. But remember your unique being at all times, your relationship, your place of work, because they try to chip it off you. Oh, you know you're too loud when you talk. Oh, you know you're being aggressive. No, I'm not being aggressive. Change that. Tell them I'm not being aggressive, I'm being assertive. Maybe it's you who need to listen proper. All of that.
And on that note, habits are a process.
Love it.